Hey guys, today in class we covered integers. So you need to make sure that you have your Bridge to Six digital notebook pulled up because we're going to do a couple things in the notebook. And also you're going to need your paper notebook with the pages that we glued in last week before we left for e-learning for the integers notes. So I am going to click on the integers tab on this front folder, and it is going to take me to the real number system slide. On your digital notebook, these titles in bold will not be drag and dropped yet, so you're going to need to do that, and I'm going to just let you do that while I go over this slide. This slide has the real number system on it, and the real number system is basically just all of the numbers that you have been working with up until this point in your academic career. And you'll notice that these are circles that are in layers. And all that means is that this center circle is included in all three groups. So whole numbers are a part of integers and a part of rational numbers. But rational numbers would have some numbers in it that whole numbers would not include. So whole numbers is just your counting numbers. They do not include zero. These are the numbers that you would use when you were in preschool to count your goldfish crackers or your blocks, just your counting numbers. They do go to infinity though, as being positive whole numbers. The next circle represents integers, and these are your positive and negative whole numbers. So these would be numbers that represented anything in the whole category, which would be all your positive whole numbers. But we're also going to add in now some negative numbers. So let's say if you had a temperature that was below zero and it was negative 17 degrees, that would be an integer. Or if you owed somebody $25, that would be a negative integer. It's a negative whole number. Then the final circle on the outside is rational numbers, and those include all the positive whole numbers, all the negative whole numbers, but it also includes all the positive and negative parts of wholes or mixed numbers. So this would include your fractions, your decimals, and your percents, both positive and negative. Next, we're going to fill in some integers notes, and this is just an introduction to the integers vocabulary. These notes are in your digital notebook, but I would like you to fill them in your paper notebook. I gave you a copy of this sheet, and I want you to use your pencil to fill these notes in. Please write down everything that I write down as you fill in your notes. First of all, we're just going to go back and talk about integers. Integers are positive and negative whole numbers, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and skip down here for just a minute. A number line is a line where numbers are represented from least to greatest at equal intervals. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to draw two number lines on my paper here. Number lines can be horizontal or vertical. They go forever in both directions, and they include all of the numbers at equal intervals. The number line always goes from least to greatest, so it doesn't matter where you start. The numbers on the left are lower or smaller or have a smaller value than the numbers on the right. So I'm just going to put a few numbers on each of these number lines so that I can refer to them as we work through the rest of these definitions. Now notice I'm putting these little minus signs in front of these numbers. That means that these numbers are negative. So if they don't have anything in front of them, they're always positive. And if they have that little subtraction sign in front of them, that's a negative sign. That's saying those numbers are negative, all right? So the positive numbers are the numbers that are greater than zero, okay? And they are on the right side of the number line if you have a horizontal number line, or they are above zero if you have a vertical number line. Next, negative numbers. The negative numbers are less than zero, and they are on the left side of zero on the number line or below zero on a vertical number line. Okay? All right, zero pairs are what you call an integer and its opposite. So I just want to point out over here, I'm going to look at the number 2, and its opposite is going to be the number that is in the exact same location on the opposite side of 0. So that's going to be a -2. So 2 and -2 are exactly opposite. They're exactly 2 jumps away from 0 on either side of it. That's what makes them opposite. And the reason why opposites are also called zero pairs is because if you combine a number and its opposite, -2, +2, so we go forward 2 and back 2, you'll always end up at 0. So that's why it's called a zero pair. All right, opposite numbers are numbers that have the same absolute value but different signs. So let's look at these numbers. This one's a +2 and this one's a -2. So this is saying these two numbers have the same absolute value but different signs. Well, I see one's positive and one's negative. So what does absolute value mean? Well, absolute value is just a number's distance from 0, okay? And when I'm talking about distance, I'm talking about the number of jumps from 0, okay? So this +2 is 2 jumps away from 0, but this -2 is also 2 jumps away from 0, so they have the same absolute value. Distance or absolute value can never be negative. And the way we indicate absolute value is by putting 2 bars outside of the number. So the absolute value of 2, or the number of jumps that 2 is from 0, is just the number 2. And the absolute value of -2, or the number of jumps that -2 is from 0, is also 2. 2 and -2 have the same absolute value or distance from 0. Okay, if you need to finish up these notes, go ahead and pause here. Please make sure that you draw these number lines, that you draw your zero pairs. I'm going to draw a little arrow to that right there. And that you draw these absolute value signs here because you may need these notes later. But I'm going to go ahead and move on. Okay, so in the slideshow, the next thing we're going to look at is integers indicator words. Now, you do not have this slide in your digital notebook. So what I want you to do right now is I want you to go to your paper notebook, okay? And I want you to draw a table on that blank page. We left a blank page after bank account exercise. I want you to draw this T-chart on that page, and I'm going to give you just a minute to do that, or you can pause the video if I don't give you enough time. But this is to be drawn on the blank page behind bank account exercise. Draw this table there. You're just going to make a T and write positive integers on one side and negative integers on the other side. Now I'm going to go back to my slide because this is where I have the word bank. So that's why I'm going back to this slide. So we're going to use this word bank and we're going to sort these words into one of 2 columns. All right. We want to apply the word situationally. Remember, we want to apply it to the situation. If it says gain, what is happening to the person or thing that's receiving the gain? Okay, is it a positive or negative amount? So I'm going to do a couple of these with you, and then I'm going to give you a minute, and you're going to get your minute by just pausing this video to go ahead and fill in the rest of them yourself, and then I'll continue on so you can make sure you're right. So first I want to look at this word. Actually, I'm going to skip gain and loss because I think you could do those. I'm going to look at debit and credit, okay? Debit is like when you have a debit card. So you're going to the store, you're buying some groceries, you're debiting to pay for those groceries, okay? So when you pay for something, when money comes out of your bank account, like with a debit, that is a negative integer. So I'm just going to write the word debit right here. I'm going to mark it out because I put it on my list. Now, a credit is a little bit different. I'm not talking about a credit card. That would be a charge. I'm talking about a credit to your account. So let's say you go to the arcade and you get credits to play a game. That is going to be a positive amount. So I'm going to write credit over here on the positive side. So what I want you to do right now is I want you to pause this video and go ahead and put the rest of these words on either the positive side or the negative side. And when you get done, go ahead and play the video again and you can see if you're right because I'm going to fill in the rest of the words. All right, at this point, you've had a minute, you've filled in your table, so let's see if you lined everything up right. A gain is going to be positive, a positive amount. A loss is going to be a negative amount. That's pretty straightforward. Okay, withdraw. So think about what's happening to your bank account. You go and withdraw money out of that bank account. That means your balance is going down. That's a negative integer. Okay, you owe someone money. That means you're in debt. That means negative. Okay, a fee. Sometimes on a savings account, you have to pay a fee to take money out because that's not what you're trying to do with a savings account. So that would also be a negative integer. Okay, deposit means you're putting money into that bank account. So that's going to be a positive integer. A charge is more like what you do on a charge card. You're spending money that you don't really have. You're going into debt. So that's going to be a negative integer. Okay. And then we have this below zero. So think of a thermometer. Those temperatures that are below zero, those are going to be negative integers. All right. Then we've got above sea level and below sea level. And I'm just going to do a quick little illustration here for you. Okay, this is the sea. And here's our boat. Okay. And the top of this water here, okay, is called sea level. And it is at 0. So if you think of that vertical number line that we drew earlier, okay, on that number line, sea level is 0. So if sea level is 0, then what does that make all the numbers above sea level? Well, that makes them positive. So above sea level is positive, okay? And then what would that make all the numbers below sea level or below 0? Well, that would make them negative. So we're going to put below sea level on the negative side of our list, okay? And then last but not least, receive, like you got money in a birthday card, that's going to increase your balance in the bank. So that is a positive integer. So take a minute and pause this. If you need to fix anything, please draw this sea level illustration in your notes so that you have this to refer back to in case you forget that sea level is 0. Sea level is at 0, and then above sea level would be positive, and below sea level would be negative on that number line, okay? All right, the last little activity that we're going to work on here is the bank account exercise, and this is on paper in your paper notebook, and it's also in your digital notebook right after your vocabulary notes. So pause the video, take a minute. I want you to read this paragraph and then start the video up again, and we're going to talk about it. All right, so now that you've had a chance to read this paragraph, the first thing I want to do is just look at the amounts in this paragraph. So we've got $150 here, another $150, $25, $35, and $5. Okay, so I'm hoping you saw all those and noticed them as you were reading this paragraph. And now I want you to go through and I want you to find every single integer indicator word. So this would be words from the table we just made that's in this paragraph. So go ahead and pause the video here, and I want you to go through on your paper and circle or underline, or if you have a highlighter, you can highlight all of your indicator words. And I'm going to go ahead and give you the first one I see is receive. That was on our list. So continue going through the paragraph, highlight, circle, underline every single integer indicator word that you see in this paragraph. All right, hopefully you took a minute to locate all those indicator words. I'm going to go through with you now and show you all the ones that I saw. For Tim's 13th birthday, he received $150 in cash from his mom. His dad took him to the bank to open a savings account. Tim gave the cash to the banker to deposit into his account. The banker credited Tim's new account $150 and gave Tim a receipt. 1 week later, Tim deposited another $25 that he had earned as allowance. The next month, Tim's dad gave him permission to withdraw to buy a new video game. Tim's dad explained that the bank would charge a $5 fee for each withdrawal from the savings account, and that each withdrawal and charge results in a debit to the account. Okay, so all these indicator words indicate to us if these amounts are positive or negative amounts. So let's go back and kind of look through and think about what that means. So if Tim received $150, is that a positive or negative 150? Well, receiving is a positive word, so that must mean he received it or he got it or he added to his bank account, his bank balance, the amount of money he had. Next, he took it to the bank and the banker credited it to his bank account. Well, a credit is also a positive amount, so this is going to be a positive credit to his bank account. A week later, he deposited another $25. Deposit is also a positive indicator word, so that must mean he put in another $25 in addition to the $150. Now, a little bit later, his dad gave him permission to withdraw $35. A withdrawal is a debit or a negative amount to the account. He withdrew that money, he took it out, his bank balance went down. His dad explained that the bank would charge a $5 fee for the withdrawal. Charge, fee, and withdrawal, all negative indicator words. He is paying that $5 out of his balance from his savings account, and that each withdrawal and charge results in a debit to the account. So that's how you use these indicator words to determine if amounts are positive or negative amounts. Please make sure that you have all this stuff marked up in your paper copy of the bank account exercise, and you can pause here if you need to get any of this information. All right, so the last thing we're just going to look at here is this table, and you do not have to put this in your notebook. You do not have to recreate this. Okay, you don't have to put this in your notebook, but just follow through with me. This is just a simple little table to kind of solidify what we found on the bank account exercise. So we're opening a bank account with no money. So what integer or number represents that? Well, it's just 0. And where is that on a number line? Well, it's the origin or the center of the number line. Okay, we're going to make a $150 deposit. All right, that's just going to be a positive 150. And on a number line, that number is going to be located to the right of 0 because that's where the positive amounts go. Next, we've got a credit for $150. Again, that is a positive amount. And again, that's going to be to the right of 0 on the number line. All right, a deposit of $25. Deposit is positive. Where will that be on the number line? It will be to the right of 0. Now we've got a charge of $5. Okay, a charge is a negative word, so that means we need to put that negative sign in front of that 5, And that number will be located this time to the left of 0 because that's where the negative numbers are. And last 10 withdrawals, $35. We determined that that withdrawal is a negative indicator word. So that means that's a negative 35. And again, that is going to be to the left of 0 on the number line. All right. So once you have finished thinking about that, we are ready now to do the activity for today, and that is going to be the quizzes. So I am going to take you into Schoology and let you see the assignment. So I'm just going to open up Schoology here. Did not want to do that. Here, I'm just going to unplug this. So you need to go into Schoology and you need to go in your course. And I'm just going to go in my first period, but it doesn't matter which course you're in. You just need to click into your math course. Okay. And so I'm just going to pick one of my math courses, but all your classes look the same. And you want to click into quarter 1, September 8th through 11th, because that's the week that we're in. And then today is Wednesday, 9/9. So you want to click on that folder. And you can click, you can skip this Join Miss Powers Quizzes class. You can just skip that and just go ahead and click on the Integers Quizzes code. And that will give you a code that's for your class. And then you just need to go into the quizzes website and enter that code. You need to complete the quiz with an 80% or higher. If you don't get an 80% on your first try, you're going to have to play the quiz again. So again, just go through those folders, find today's folder, click on the one that looks like this, the quarter 199 Integers Quizzes code, and use that code on quizzes to pull up the quiz. You will not be clicking on either one of these other links today. All right, thank you for joining me. I hope you have a great day. Bye.